All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Crystal. And thank you to American Heritage Credit Union for their partnership and their trust. And welcome everyone to today's presentation. Yes, Crystal. Let's talk about money when it comes couples and money. It is a topic that is it needs to be brought up all year round.
I agree.
Usually, yes, around February, but it's all year round. This is a topic that needs to be brought up in the household. So very, very important. Again, thank you for the invitation, for the trust from American Heritage Credit Union, and welcome everyone to today's presentation. Love and money, couples. Okay. So a little bit about Money Management International. We're a national full service nonprofit financial education and counseling organization. Our mission is to improve life through financial education. Money Management International provides several services. One of them is budget and credit counseling, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also provide debt management programs. We're one of the largest HUD approved agencies in the country. So we are under the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And so we provide all kinds of counseling and education when it comes to housing. We also provide bankruptcy counseling and education, student loan counseling, credit report reviews, and post disaster recovery counseling. And the education area in the financial literacy education area, we have a free online learning program. It is called learn.mmiuniversity.org. At the end of the presentation, you will be able to see the link for that program, also for our website. And I just want to let everyone know that we have a dedicated phone line for all members and non-members of the American Heritage Credit Union. So at the end of the presentation, you will be able to see that phone number also. So it is available. It is free, confidential, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So lots of resources here today, lots of great information to help you reach your financial goals. Okay, so with that, let's see what are the objectives for today's presentation. What I am going to be covering here today. We are going to be working, I'm going to be explaining on handling finances as a couple. Okay. But handling finances as a couple, it could be with a spouse, it could be with a significant other, it could be with a partner, or even children. Okay. So just as a couple, it kind of uh, it kind of goes a long way. We're going to be talking about communication and listening skills. And this is very important when we are talking about personal finances. Assessing how important is to assess your combined finances. A lot of times we hear couples saying, oh no, I have my own bank account, or the other person has their own bank account. That other person, that other partner, spouse pays this and this bill, and I pay this and this bill. So and here we're going to be explaining the importance of assessing the combined finances because we own a business. We own, as a couple, you own a business, and that business is called household. There is a partnership there. Setting priority and goals, how to work together, so both people in that couple in that relationship in that household are able to reach their goals. The importance of establishing a new budget, especially if now we are coming to live together. It could be through marriage or just coming to live together. And the last thing that I am going to be talking is making that commitment. I'm going to be giving you lots of information, lots of resources, but at the end, it's just us being able to make that commitment, being willing to change so we can achieve our financial goals. Now, and this is for making the commitment and willingness to change, so the couple will have financial security in the future. All right. Now, this these are concepts, everything that I just mentioned here that I'm going to be covering, are concepts that apply to every couple. Okay, no matter if they are just starting. Okay, you may just got together, living together, or maybe you have been together for a while. Okay, or married for a while, for a long time. Okay. It is a sad thing to know. I don't want to say too sad, but it is the truth, that a lot of couples never get around to having the talk. Okay, the talk. It seems like when talking about money, it becomes a myth, or it becomes maybe a taboo, or is a topic that never is brought up to the table, to the communication. And this is something that needs to be communicated. It has to be very open, because all of us have goals. All of us have financial security that we want to achieve. Okay. All right. So there is a lot of information here today. There are a lot of handouts that you are going to be receiving. So do not worry about that. Okay. So when it comes to passion, not two subjects spark up more heat than love and money, especially that conversation about money. It kind of really, sometimes it is just a fight or a discussion. So it is no two subjects spark up more heat than love and money. Good money management skills are attractive to people. Couples who know how to build up anticipation in their savings accounts and their love life are able to balance wants and needs, and they're able to communicate their deepest desire, and they can look forward to a good relationship that is wrapped for financial security in the future, or maybe in the current state of your relationship. So again, communication is very, very important. Now, financial fi- yes, financial problems have extinguished many flames out there, causing the words cold and hard to describe not only cash but relationships gone wrong. Okay. So money really touches every aspect of a couple's life, whether, again, they have been together for many years or they're just starting a relationship. Okay. Um, Couples have more difficulty talking about money than any other subject. One reason, they don't know how to start talking, how to bring that topic to the conversation. So rather than bringing it up, then we just avoid the topic. Okay, many people just avoid the topic. it is very important to have the conversation. It is very important to set the stage because that's what is going to help us have financial stability. So with that, let's talk about communication, good communication. Starting a money conversation again is very difficult for a lot of us. Okay. Before talking about money, it is important to prepare a setting for conversation. It is important. One of the advice that we're able to prepare that setting is picking up a time where things are quiet, where we are able to remove distraction. If we have children, then a quiet moment, very early in the morning or very late at night, and ease into some general topics such as how how each other feels about money. It is important to choose the timing. A financial discussion when you or your partner are angry or tired or sad or worry about a financial situation is going to really have not a good communication. It's going to have an adverse, communication in there. We're trying to find the right timing. Um, Once you become a better money communicator, again, set a regular time to talk about the bills, the financial goals, the objectives of the family, budgeting, okay? Maybe an upcoming vacation, maybe talking about work, about what's going on, savings, very important. All of this have to be part of that communication, okay? Make regular discussions about money, a routine of your everyday, everyday life. um, that way you talk about the positive things too. For example, you can bring up a good thing about, hey, I was able to save money on this and this. Look, I was able to look at the bill for the groceries. I was able to find some extra discount for the children's clothing or for the going back to school sales. Some positive things. Not all the conversation has to be negative. It could be good, positive things. If you're working to go on vacation, on a family vacation, then you can bring that up. Hey, I was able to find this and this a lot cheaper. We're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that. So it is important not to make the money conversation wait until there's only negative things that we need to discuss or urgent matters that we need to really talk about. Okay. Um, so when I said that we all own a business called household, we do. You as a household owner, as a head of a household, you own a business. So when you are in a relationship, then you are in a partnership. So just like business owners do, they have their board meetings, they talk about their company finances, their business finances. We also have to talk about that. We all have to talk about our business goal household, our goals, our priorities, our situation, good, positive things, and if we're having some negative topics that we need to bring up. Okay. So, one advice out there is mark a calendar. Okay. Mark your calendar. Maybe once a week when you are reviewing all your budget, when you're making sure that your bills are paid, maybe take a few minutes to talk about what's going on. Okay, here, this bill is paid, you got paid, this thing is up. things like that. Okay. So very important. Just like a board meeting, remember that we own a business and we have to have a meeting with our significant other, spouse, partner, just like a business have their own board meetings to make sure that we are achieving our financial goals. All right, so let's talk about communication topics, okay? So topics to take into consideration include how to determine your financial habits, attitudes, money behaviors, and goals. So these are all influenced by several factors. Discussing money matter takes time. Okay, this is something. And then if you if and a lot of I'm I'm really explaining it here for the couples, but it could be for couples who are not together yet. Okay, that maybe they're dating or they're going out. Excuse me. So this is a conversation that the earlier we have it, the better. And that way we're able to know that other person and how their attitude toward money, what are the money behaviors, their goals, the attitudes. And that way we start getting that relationship in a very strong way. Um, just keep in mind that again, discussing money matters takes time. You cannot solve all the issues in one sitting. Okay. If you are feeling overwhelmed, then it is important to set a timer and keep it short, and then set a time to follow up for the conversation. Okay. So just the main things that needs to be covered in that little mini board meeting. And if there is something that it needs to be tackled with more time, then you're able to make an extra time and schedule an extra time. Okay, conversations important. Okay, it is important to have that conversation. It is important to really have that money talk. Communicating your dream, important dreams for future, share vision. Again, it could be when you're just starting the relationship, or maybe you're already in a relationship for a while, or just dating. It is important to look forward those dreams, your savings, vacations, that we're going to have children. What dreams do you have for the future? What do you want to accomplish as a couple? So part of the money conversation is about communicating and establishing a shared vision. When a couple is working toward the same goal, whether it is maybe, hey, we need to have a big screen TV, or maybe we want to do some remodeling in our home, or sending the children to college, or retirement, for our golden years, or anything else, they can stay on course. Okay. Everyone, when we have these goals, when we're talking about, when we have a shared dreams, we can stay on course and have a lot less tense money moments. Okay, because everything is out there, everything is on the table. um think about what direction is your love and money. Okay, where's your compass pointing, uh, for you and your partner or your spouse? So compile a list of all the things that you hope to be, to see and do. You will get to know yourself, and at the same time, you're getting to know better your other person, and the other person is getting to know you better also. Then you can work together towards your destination. And if you don't like the direction that you're heading, then you can charge. You can say, hey, wait a minute, this is not working. Let's go and take a new path. Okay. Communicating fact and feelings. No matter how unromantic, having an open and honest discussion about your current financial situation, your past situation, future, what is your future goals? This is vital. This is important for a relationship, for a partnership, for a couple. Remember that everyone has their own money style, which has been shaped by their past experience. They see how their parents did it or how they grew up in a household. So approaching money issues honestly and openly is going to give you a much better chance as having a strong, healthy financial relationship. Here are some questions that maybe I'm throwing out there. Do you know your partner's credit history? Do you understand how your partner views money? Um, if your partner won $10,000, do you know how he or she would spend it? How about if you won it? How would you spend it? Okay. So it is important to have some of those questions, and that way, you're able to know each other. Uh, Now, that one about your partner's credit history, that is very important, especially start talking about before getting together about credit report, credit history, because it's going to help us really achieve some of the goals. If we're going to join together to buy a home, or if we're going to join together because we want to open a business, or is it or maybe just one person because of the past credit history. Okay. It is important have a communication about our past. Okay. It is often very difficult to start a dialogue about money, and what way to start this communication is to determine exactly how your partner feels about money. And this can be in, I will tell you my story if you tell me yours. So by talking about past experiences, it can give both parties insight into their partner's money views as well as their own. Money messages are formed through family, uh, outside sources, and also by personal experiences. Okay, so these are some of the questions that can start a discussion, an open discussion, in a non-threatening way, and then by doing these questions, you're opening a path to other talks. Okay. And some of these questions, cannot, they don't have to be all in one sitting. They can be in different sittings. How did your parents and family uh, felt about money? How did your parents treat you regarding money? As a child, did you feel you were rich, poor, or middle class? So those are, some important questions, because you want to know your partner. You want to know your partner because you're now in a relationship, and if you're not there yet, if you're not together, this is a way to start a good conversation. Okay. All right. So this is an exercise that you all have in your handout. And this is a financial values assessment. These are 20 questions, and it's going to just give you an idea of what is your personality when it comes about money. Maybe this is a way to start the conversation as a game. So you can take one, and your partner, spouse can do uh, their own one also. And that way, after you score, you do all your calculation on your score. You're able to know what your financial personality is. Remember that we all hold a unique financial value that help determine attitudes and priorities when it comes to saving and spending money. Okay. So figuring out your individual financial value can help you understand why you make the choices that you do, and help you formulate a financial plan that is going to align with your values. Okay. So here are the four personalities. So you have this handout, and you're gonna have this handout in your when you receive them. So take the time to do it and then talk about it. Are you the resourceful consumer? Are you the carefree consumer? Are you the frugal spender? Or are you the status shopper? Okay, so there is an explanation for all of those in your handout. Great game to do. Who is your family CFO? And if you're not together, who is going to be your family CFO? Who is it? Who is it at this moment? Maybe you just being together for just a few years, or maybe you're being together longer than 10, 15 years. So who is? So communication is a balancing act. So it should be a continuous process. And so there are many things to consider when you are joining two lifestyles. So this is one of them. Who is going to be the family CFO? Who is going to be handling the money? Who is going to be in charge of paying the bills? Who is going to handle in the checkbooks, the bank accounts? Who is going to be watching and following to make sure that the budget is followed? Um, Maybe one of the questions, if you have not been together yet, one of the questions in the conversation could be, um, are we going to have separate checking accounts? Are we going to have separate discretionary money? How are we gonna do? Where are the accounts? Who is gonna be in charge of that? So very important. Remember, we own a business. So in our business called household, we have to have a CFO, a chief financial officer. Okay. Um, so here's more questions. Are we going to purchase a home? And this is part of the conversation, our future objective, our future plans. Are we going to have children? How about saving for college for the children? What are your financial aspirations? What are your career aspirations? What else is in your mind for our, financial future? So all of these questions are very, very important. Okay. So very important to have a family CFO, because that person is going to make sure that everything that is spoken in those meetings, everything about the goals and objective, everything about the budget is really kept on track. Okay. Communicating by listening. Okay. These are some tips for listening, communication tips for listening. Listening well is an important part of an effective communication. So when you are in a conversation, sometimes it is hard for your partner to verbalize what he or she is thinking. If you are unclear, it's very important to ask questions. What do you mean? I just don't understand. Everyone makes mistakes, so try not to criticize, but begin to think to solutions. Uh, just keep in mind that nothing gets accomplished through an argument. So you may never agree on everything, and sometimes it will be necessary to agree to disagree. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Sometimes it's necessary to agree to disagree. It is sometimes a matter of compromising. Uh, make a note of the challenges and try to work them out systematically. Negative feedback can cause someone to shut down, okay, and become angry. Again, keep the lines of communications open. It's not for argument, it's not to fight to win, it is to really achieve those goals as a couple, okay? Um, so very important, when we are communicating, by listening, we always want to let the other person finish. Uh, so we are not going to say anything. We're not going to interrupt until that person is finished. And then that other person should do the same thing with us. Okay. How we want to be treated, uh, it is also part of that relationship, is having that respect and a good relationship. How we're going to be treated, we're going to be treat that other person also. Okay. So yes, so this is all the information I was just mentioning. Discussing financial issues, how we can solve money problems. uh Now that I have tell you some communication, how to start the communication process, and some tips on how to bring that communication, how to have that meeting. It is time to put into action to solve money problems, and we all face those. Sometime in our relationship, we all face some money problems. Discuss the steps to solving money problems. Like, for example, it is important to acknowledge that there is a problem, identify the real problem, brainstorm some alternative, uh, agree to a solution, and again, keep communications open while working out the solution. So it's not like, okay, we're gonna decide this and that's it. No, very important to review. If you come up with a solution, review that solution, review the progress that you are making for that money problem. Okay. So regardless, regardless of who is your money, regardless of who is your money, your CFO, it is important that you include, or that other partner is included in all the process of bill payments and things like that. Okay. Um, let's talk about assessing your credit history. Assessing your credit history. So in here, it is important that when we are reviewing all our bills, uh, when we are reviewing the bills, the budget, the savings, the goals, it is important also to assess, to review our credit history. It is an important task to pull and review all of their three credit report histories. I have included in the and they hand out a form that you're able to use to request your credit report, and also at the same time your score, because maybe we're having a little difficulty to increase or to get some credit negative things out of it. So it is part of that goal. It is a good conversation to have between the two of you. Assessing net worth. Important to assess your net worth. Again, this is where the couple sits down and sees and take in consideration all your assets and all your liabilities, because this is going to give you a good conversation about what things to change, what things the budget is working, or what expenses need to be controlled. So a good conversation to have: assets minus liabilities, that's going to give you your net worth. So in that way you're able to see your outcome. Assessing your income. It is very important, and this is part again of your finances. Who is going to be taking care of your finances? Who's going to be looking at your checking accounts, your saving accounts? It is very important to know how much money is coming in into the household, and this is something needs to be checked weekly, and that way, if there is a mistake, if there is an error, immediately we can bring that up to our employer. Um, and then this brings me also to one of those questions about the future. Are we going to have children? If one person is going to stay home and take care of the children, or is it one person going outside the home to work? So this is also part of managing those finances. If it's a one household income, it is always at a um, two two members income. Okay. So again, remember all this information: assessing your net worth, your gross, your net income, and that takes me to the budget. Okay, the budget is also another form that you are going to be receiving, and the budget is to know exactly how much money is coming in and where is the money going. So establishing that budget, it just refers to knowing how is the money going to be distributed. It is important to have a budget in writing, and that way it can be reviewed once a month. You're able to see with your partner where the money is being spent. That way, both of you are able to see what expenses are too much, or maybe how we can reduce some of those expenses. And these are decisions that both of you need to take, both that couple needs to take. What things are working, what things are not working. And this is specifically for the couples that they're being together, maybe just a few years or maybe longer. But very important when you are just starting, well, when you are in a relationship but you're not living together yet. Part of knowing that financial situation of each other and having that conversation: how is going to be our goals, what we want to do, is also looking at each other's budget and being able to come out with a good idea of how it can be combined. Uh, and this is something that a lot of times I get that question. Is it better to have two budgets, or is it better to have two accounts? When we are in a relationship, we are in a partnership. So it should be one budget and one finances. So combined. So again, when you're starting that conversation and when you're trying to get together, and either if you're moving together, or maybe in a matrimony, or in a more now kind of relationship. It is important to start talking about that. What is your budget? What are your expenses right now? What are your debts? What are your obligations? And here are my obligations. Here are my debts. So let's see how we can combine them together. How can we, be able to reach our goals together? Okay, and combination of those. All right. This is a calendar method that allows you to do a follow up, to have a follow up. This is something that it can be placed on a very uh, prominent place. So both the couple are able to see what bills are coming up, what expenses, so everybody is on the same page. So if maybe the CFO, maybe one of you is the CFO, and maybe you have to be out of town because of work, or maybe a illness in the family, then the other person, the partner, or the spouse, or the significant other, can really takes that task. So it's not like that other person is going to be left out. No. So that's why that conversation again. That's why, having that talk. And I said, okay, here is everything. Here are the bills. Here are the checking accounts. Here's the saving account. So if one is not available, then the other person can step up, and have everything in there, and not, everything hiding. And so it is very important to have a good communication, have everything out, and having, a good finances is going to allow you to reach your goals. Um, Usually around February is when we hear all these topics. We read in the paper, we read articles where some couples said that they don't even know how much their spouse makes. Or there's also some articles about that one person didn't know that their spouse had another account, another credit cards, and some debts that they didn't know. So it is very important to have a great conversation and no secrets when it comes to money. Because it's gonna be it is a good positive thing to have a good communication, because it's going to allow us to reach our goals, and this is what is going to allow us to assess our future. Knowing where all the financial records are, especially if someone is not there, if it has to, the other person has to step up, or something happened, maybe a death in the family, and that other person has to, it's not out in the dark. That person is also involved. That other person, that widow, is also involved in their finances. um Here are some important information that we could um, be talking about: knowing where all the financial records are kept, talking to an attorney about a will or trust, especially when they are children, and even if they're not children, if their children are adult, if you're in a middle age or maybe early age, very important. Having a tax advisor, also having a financial planner, it is also important, because it's going to allow us to set financial goals for the future. One important one is the medical decision making. Discuss power of attorney, and this is something that we explain the grab and go box with important papers. And this is something that we explained in the class yesterday, and it is preparing for emergencies. We all should have a goal box with important papers in case that we have to evacuate the house or the home. All right, setting goals, setting goals. Remember, this is part of that conversation. Remember, your goals have a timeline. So any short-term goals are goals that you're going to be able to achieve within the next 2 years. What are your midterm goals? Goals that you're able to achieve within the 3, 5, 6 years. And long-term goals are goals that you're going to be able to achieve in more than 5 years. Okay, so very important to set those goals if we are in a relationship already, or if we are going to be starting together. If we are in a relationship, but we are going to now be living together. Here is the budget. So here is the budget. So having all your net income and have all your expenses, and that way everything is in writing right there where the money being spent. Commitment. Financial matters are no different than any different than the other types of give and take in any committed relationship. The key to financial success is commitment, communication, and common goals. So by communicating, you're able to talk about your own personal goals, the things that you want to accomplish together. Um, we can do this in baby steps if we have never talked about this. But committing yourself is and having your partner also that commitment is going to help you have financial stability. No one cares more about your financial security than the two of you. So it is important to make a promise to each other to take joint responsibility and steps to better your overall financial position. Maybe one of the early commitments will be paying down debt, starting a saving account, start saving for your future, saving for your children's college. So, it is very important that commitment, being willing to make changes, be willing to adapt. So yes, sometimes we have to adapt to that partner, but commitment is the most important thing. Okay, so I have covered lots of great information. Communicate and listen equally. The importance of assessing your combined finances. If you are already in a relationship, continue to assess that. If you are just starting in a relationship and you're thinking to move in together, this is a very important topic to bring up to the table. Set your priority and goals. Now you're a couple. Um, uh, Now you're going to be able to establish a new budget if you don't have a budget. If you're coming together, but if you already have a budget, remember to review that budget weekly. And then just be committed to that future with your spouse and your significant other. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of questions sometimes that we get about having separate accounts. It is a lot that is part of the conversation that you need to have with your significant other, with your partner. If that is the decision that you all decide to have, then it should be a conversation, because both of you have responsibilities to pay the obligations in that household. But yeah, a lot of times, a lot of people have it like that, and that's how they wanted to do it. Today's presentation is designed for educational purposes only and should not be construed as an investment, tax, or legal advice. Okay, so here is our website for Money Management International, moneymanagement.org. There is our our free online financial program. It is free, very interactive, lots of handouts, different topics. Learn.mmiuniversity.org. And there is the American Heritage Credit Union members and non-members dedicated phone line, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So very important. Take advantage of all the resources. Talk to one of our counselors. So if you as a couple are having difficulty setting up a budget, um, then our counselors certified by the National Foundation for Credit Counseling are able to help you.